My name's John Cleary, and I've never been one to enjoy making a huge fuss out of my birthday, at least not since I've gotten older. I have a specific routine I like to run through on my birthday, and it's very simple. On May 28th, I gather my closest friends, and we go out to eat at my favorite restaurant, Genghis Grill, and I get my free birthday bowl, and then we go back to my house and hang out for the evening. That's all I really like to do, and I think it's a load of fun, and Genghis Grill is delicious. If you've never been there, you should go. Now, when going through this routine every year, it's really easy to just settle in to what I expect my day to be, and just forget about everything else, and just get very caught up and involved in my thing. And when doing that, it's very easy to forget all about the rest of the world. And so when we were given this assignment, I thought it was like a very strange concept to me that I had no idea what happened on the day I was born, besides me being born. I mean, if it's such a massively important day in my life, why do I know so little about it? So I enjoyed this assignment, and I found articles from the day of my birth on May 28th, 1995, from the New York Times, the Washington Post, and London's The Times, because I was interested in what might be going on internationally. So the first article was in the Washington Post, and it was titled, "French Units Attack Serbs in Sarajevo." The article was about the conflict in Bosnia between UN peacekeeping forces and the Serbians there. And I learned that it was a very tense time, and that the Serbians had recently taken a large number of UN forces hostage. Now, the article was specifically about a very unfortunate Serbian, I don't know if you could call it a strike, but move they made on the day before. The Serbians took the uniforms from the UN forces they had already taken hostage and used them to walk right up to a bridge that was being held by UN French forces. And the UN there didn't realize it was the Serbians until it was too late. And by that point, the Serbians were already upon them, and they took them all hostage and gained more hostages. Now, the most unfortunate part about this story is that the hostages the Serbians were taking were being used to be attached to bomb strike targets of the UN to prevent them from bombing them. So the Serbians were attaching them to things like bridges and supply depots so that the UN couldn't bomb them anymore. So that was a very unfortunate story. Unfortunately, the rest of the news on my birthday wasn't much better. The next story I looked at from the New York Times was called "Fear Stalks the Quick and Dead in Zaire," and it was about an Ebola outbreak that was currently happening in the world. Now, the story wasn't so much about an Ebola panic. At that point, the outbreak was pretty much contained. They weren't worried about it spreading further. They were just waiting, basically, for things to clean up. But the issue was hundreds and hundreds of people who were perfectly healthy were being left to starve in the streets of Zaire because everyone was too afraid that they might get them sick. The friends and family of the infected were being shunned and outcast by society, and there was nothing that the World Health Organization could do for them, because they were busy caring for those who were sick, and they couldn't bring them to where the sick were. So there was this massive just issue of perfectly healthy people dying because they were being outcast. So that was a horribly depressing thing going on. And I found this story interesting because we just recently had a large Ebola panic not that long ago. And so it was interesting seeing that, this virus that we're so terrified of today was still just as scary back then. Now, the final story I found in London's The Times, I really wanted to find something that wasn't so depressing, and the best I could do was a tiny little snippet of an article at the very bottom of the front page titled "Rugby World Cup Record." And that was about the Scottish captain Gavin Hastings scored a world record of 44 goals in that year's Rugby World Cup. So it wasn't all bad. After all, I was born that day, so the world had that going for it.